Did you know that a long time ago, before Dean Ornish had discovered that a plant-based diet, low fat, could reverse heart disease, before Dr. Campbell did his groundbreaking work that led to the China study, before the term whole food plant-based even existed, people were healing and thriving and sharing the beautiful message that combined a healthful lifestyle with radical compassion. Well, it was going on. Now, I certainly can't claim to have been there for what was happening long, long ago in the 1800s and the early 1900s, but I was there for the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, and so was the beautiful guest that you'll be meeting today. Hi, everybody. I am Victoria Moran, and this is the Main Street Vegan Podcast. Thank you so much for being with us. One of the things that I think is unique to our podcast in the midst of so many fabulous ones, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be great to have enough time to get to listen to all of them? But something that is special is that I know a lot of people who have been doing this for a long time. And my guest today is someone that I was hanging out with back in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, even though there's always been a whole country or a half a country between us. She is a California girl. She has a story that will dazzle you. And oh my gosh, if you're watching this on YouTube and you're seeing her loveliness, she's dazzling you with that. So here we go. Here's a little bit about my guest today. Her name is Susan Smith Jones, and she is a PhD. She has three of America's most ordinary names, but she has made extraordinary contributions to holistic health, aging progressively and radiantly, optimal nutrition, and balanced living. For starters, she taught students, staff, and faculty at UCLA how to be healthy and fit for over 30 years. She's a renowned holistic health and lifestyle expert and a vegan for decades. Susan continues to inspire adults and children worldwide with positive wellness information and personal stories that uplift the heart and celebrate healthy living. Oh, soul sister, Susan Smith Jones.
Well, my
Welcome, welcome,
kindred
welcome.
spirit. Yeah,
With
it's,
kindred wall colors.
I know. Can you, and I promise everyone, we did not plan this. I didn't know the color of her wall. And this has been my color behind me. It's calming, it's peaceful for
Yeah,
decades,
yeah.
decades in my home.
Well, great minds work alike, as they say.
That's
And
right.
it is wonderful. I was talking with another friend about this recently, that we can find ways to connect and be close and find points of agreement with just about everybody. And I think this is such an important message now in our divided country, in our divided world. People are interesting, but we're all people and we can connect. And yet, when there's somebody with whom you're resonating, when you're kind of vibrating at the same frequencies, I think you end
Mhm.
up with things like similar wall colors.
Yeah, that's right. Totally agree on that one.
Susan, so tell us, oh my gosh, do you want to start with your story? Because it's a powerful one, even
Well,
though
let
it's
me
a
let me start with
time-honored one.
you had mentioned how far back we go, and
Yes.
I bet most people with us today have no idea that way back when, here we
Hold it up a
are,
little more, a little more.
here, is that high
Yeah,
enough?
there. Well,
Here
yeah.
we are on the cover of Health Science, Health
There,
Science
great, perfect.
magazine.
And who are the other
Um,
two women with us?
it's Marilyn Diamond and
Oh,
who's the other one? Joy Gross.
yes.
Health, as you know, Health Science is the wonderful magazine of NHA, National Health Association. You and I were giving a talk, and that was from September 1992, where we
Aha.
graced the cover of this wonderful magazine. I have it on my hall in my home. I call it my Hall of Fame, where I
Aw.
have different covers of magazines I've been on. That's probably my most favorite because I'm sharing it with you. So we go way back.
We do indeed. And it's so interesting to see who stays and who leaves. So, Marilyn Diamond, for people who weren't around at that time, was the co author with her then husband, Harvey Diamond, of a book called Fit for Life.
That's right.
And that book went crazy. It sold so many copies that fruit and vegetable intake in the US was up by 10% for 2 years back to back. And yet, ultimately, my understanding is that Marilyn found a different way to eat and left
That's
our
right.
fold, as people sometimes do. And I really like connecting with somebody like Susan Smith Jones, who has kept the faith all these years.
Yeah. Well, and this will come up in my story, but to this day, knock on wood, I've never had to take any prescription medication at all because when I was a teenager, long story short, it's in my couple books I'll show you in a little bit, a great story where my dad unexpectedly died and I didn't handle it well. And over a year, I ate everything in sight, all the junk foods you can imagine, a beige and white diet, got acne, arthritis, asthma, um, allergies galore. I was bullied in school. I didn't want to live anymore. And my grandmother, who was not a doctor, took me under her wings because she knew how to live close to nature. Do you know Stephen Esser?
Oh, yes.
Yes, my grandmother studied with his grandfather.
Wow.
So she learned how to be healthy. And I went to the doctor with her, who gave us a pile of prescriptions, said we had to go and get them all filled, and I'd probably have to live with most of my issues. I realize now that it was depression. And my grandmother Fritzie, in her wisdom, did not take me to the pharmacy. She took me home and had a heart to heart talk with me and told me that if I could follow her guidance and live with her for the summer, she would show me how to live and what to eat. And she promised me in 3 months the 30 pounds I had gained would come off. I'd no longer have acne, allergies, asthma, any of these A allergies, and I'd go from being very depressed to positive. And she was right. I studied. She taught me about juicing and sprouts and whole foods and herbs and spices and healthy lifestyle choices. My mom, at the same time, taught me more mental, physical, spiritual things. I added all of this together. My mom taught me about the importance of kindness, counting your blessings, paying it forward, looking at the bright side of things, looking for life's simple pleasures, living by the golden rule, which, by the way, is from the Bible in Matthew 7. I combined all that together. My health just skyrocketed. Studied with my grandmother, studied meaning she guided me on everything. And then in the 70s, in the mid 70s, she passed away. And a few months later, I had you know about this, a terrible car accident. My car was totaled, my back was fractured. And again, shorter story, I went to a favorite place of mine in Pacific Palisades, which isn't there much more right now. But I went to a little bench, sat down, prayed and prayed, and I had an epiphany because the doctors at UCLA told me I'd have to get used to living in pain the rest of my life. Wouldn't be able to exercise, wouldn't be able to carry anything heavier than a light purse. then I just chose not to believe this prognosis. Went to the bench, had an epiphany, felt God's presence so deeply, and knew that if I stuck with my plant-based, organic, vegan diet, ate a lot of raw food, did my physical therapy, trusted God, let go, prayed every day, developed my faith, I'd be fine. In 6 months, I felt great, went back to the doctors, my team of doctors. The main guy said it's a miracle. You no longer have a sign of any fracture in your back. But, Susan, I didn't learn about miracles in medical school. But I've since discovered that when you live connecting your body, mind, and spirit, and you have faith, and every day you wake up and you have a commitment and you trust, and you know that that every day you have a choice to make that commitment to your health and you stick with it, you're going to be on the right path. So that's brought me, so I went to school, got multiple degrees at UCLA. I've written over 3 dozen books. My last three are my favorites. I taught at UCLA for 30 years, as you said. I retired from there in 2000 to travel the world to talk about health. And you and I, another reason we're kindred spirits, were born the same year. And you'd never know that we're both 130 years old.
You wouldn't, would you?
No, and I feel so grateful because I still keep my mom's and my grandmother's lessons in my life, in my writing, in my counseling. And to this day, I've never had to take, as I mentioned, any prescription medication because I know what to eat and how to live close to nature, close to God, God-centered life to keep my body as healthy as possible. And then I try to teach people how to do that too in my books.
Well, you have said so much, and you've just sparked so many thoughts in me. One is this beautiful holistic way that you have of tying together the body and the spirit. And one of the wonderful things is we don't have to see the spirit the same way. However, somebody has a worldview, religious ideas, that's all fine. Just use the ones you've got because they're going to work. And I also see that we have, on the one hand, the blessing of medical doctors praising this way of life and being part of this, being out there encouraging people to eat plants. It is absolutely wonderful. You mentioned Dr. Esser, who's one of our wonderful medical doctors. He's an orthopedist. And and yet what I think we have to do as we get the scientists in our camp, this is great, welcome them. And yet, those of us who see more of the spirit need to talk about that as well. And you do that so brilliantly and beautifully.
Thank you. Thank you. In fact, Dr. Esther wrote the foreword for my book. I'll show it to you
Yeah,
quickly.
show
A Hug in
me.
a Mug,
Oh,
revitalized with fruits, vegetables, juices, spices, teas, and healthy living extras. And this is the book where I talk about you as well. I love your work. Your work has inspired me ever since I met you.
well, I do think we have that kind of vibrational sisterhood going on. One of the
Yes.
things, I mean, I love acronyms too. I think both of us are kind of known throughout our careers for coming up with acronyms because people remember those and then they're able to apply them. And one that is known to you is the working wonders, the 7 steps of working wonders for your health and your life. So, can you walk us through the wonders?
Let's do that. Let's start with W, and
Okay.
that is the body is a wonderful miracle of nature. Our body, this is the way I look at it. Our body's given to us by God, and one of the best gifts we can give back to God is to take loving care of our body. And it's a miracle of miracles but most people often take their health for granted until something goes wrong with it. Or we look in the mirror and we denigrate ourselves. We wish we looked a little differently, but we forget that there are so many miracles going on inside our body each day. I have a whole chapter in Hug and a Mug about the miracle of the human body. For example, your body, I'm going to go through a few quickly. Your body pumps 2,000 gallons of blood through the four chambers of your heart every day, and it beats 100,000 times in a day. You take about 17,000 breaths a day, and you don't have to think about any of them, yet you can temporarily hold your breath. Your brain thinks about, most people, 50,000 thoughts a day. And yet, all the deeper thinkers that connect with you on your podcast probably have about 60,000 thoughts a day. So that's about 35 to 48 thoughts every minute. And we don't even have to think about it. You know, you blink 28,000 times a day, and that's to keep your eyes clear and moist. You shed more than 1 million, this is why I'm dusting all the time, skin cells every day, and they instantly will replenish themselves. And that's a good thing, because if they didn't replenish themselves, you'd be looking fairly transparent and you'd become rather exposed. You know, when you sleep, I'll finish with this. When you sleep, did you know that you grow about 8 millimeters every night? But then you shrink back down during the day because of what? Because of gravity. And that's a very good thing, or else you'd have shrinking back down, or else you'd have some pretty hefty um, clothes bills, clothing bills, and every 1 or 2 years you'd have to raise the frame work around your doorway. So when you think that you're getting older and you've got a lot of creaks and your body is failing, think about the miracles going on in your body every day. You are a miracle of miracles. You're a wonder, and you're wonderful. I love wonderful. I love that word. And your body is a wonder of nature and a miracle of miracles. And you want to start treating it like it is that miracle every single day. Recommit when you wake up. You're the president and CEO of your body and life. When you wake up in the morning, make a commitment, and your body reflects your mind reflects your spirit, but the body is a great place to start with how you treat your body.
I'm just going to insert a question here before we get on to the next letter. And that is, when you're young, the body is all fresh and new and interesting. And when you're a teenager, when you're in your early 20s, you're just getting used to, oh gosh, look at me. And I'm just discovering the makeup and whatnot. And after years and decades, it can seem like, oh gosh, I've done this for a long time. So, how do you keep everything refreshed and renewed, regardless of what the age on your driver's license has to say?
I do that because I do goals all the time. I have daily goals, weekly goals, monthly, quarterly, yearly. And my goals are always to look healthier, more youthful, more vibrant all the time. And it's not that it's easy every day. It's not that I'm always positive and optimistic, but the morning time is a very special time of the day. You want to wake up and embrace the morning with that positive attitude and with a clean slate, because it doesn't matter what happened yesterday. You take the lessons you learned, you let go of what doesn't work, and you bring it into this next day. And remember that the first 40 minutes of the day sets the tone for the whole day. So I make sure my first 40 minutes are as healthy. What do I want for the day? Healthy, happy, positive, uplifting. I'm not sure if I want to say this out loud. It's just us together, only you and me here. But I usually go into the bathroom, do what I need to do, and then I look in the mirror and do you know do you remember the musical Oklahoma?
Oh, sure.
And remember the song, Oh, What a Beautiful
Beautiful
Morning?
morning.
Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a beautiful feeling. Everything's
Everything's
going my
going right.
way. Well, I sing that just about every morning.
Yeah,
And it makes you laugh because you kind of look funny that time of day looking in the mirror. And it just starts my day off on a positive note.
that's
And
so
I
funny,
know I
Susan.
control my day.
I sing that so often when I'm out walking my dog, when it's really pretty. And even though it's New
James,
York City, it's not very busy in the early morning. And yeah, there's a bright golden haze on the meadow. Gosh,
yes, there is.
that's so
The
cool.
corn is as high as an elephant's eye.
And it
And
looks,
I'm not going to sing anymore because we want people to stay tuned in.
yeah,
But, keeping your mind positive, looking for the bright side of everything,
yeah.
count your blessings. We'll go through this
Okay.
as we go on. And I know you're glad I didn't pick a 21 letter word.
Yeah,
It's
that's, well,
7 letters.
I think by the time you get through the seven, people will wish they had another 14, but it's
Well, we'll
perfectly,
come back together.
the segue into Outlook is just right. Let's talk about
Outlook.
that.
Yeah, and that's all about having a positive attitude. Fritzy, my grandmother, used to always say, as I mentioned, she was big on attitude, that your attitude is your mind's paintbrush. It can color anything. So you
Mhm.
want to color your day positive. Our days aren't always going to go exactly the way we wish they would go, and you're not always going to be on top of the world. But you can choose to look for life's simple pleasures that are all around us. As I wrote about in my new, and we're debuting it on the show today, it's behind me over Joy and the Butterfly. It just won, by the way, the gold medal from Mom's Choice Awards
Ooh,
organization for being the best family friendly book and inspiring story for this year. And in that
wow,
book, and it's a
congratulations.
novelette, by the way, and
Okay.
it's along the lines of remember Anne Shirley and Anne of Green Gables?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I love that. So it's a novelette about a girl who has moves to a farm from the bustling city with all of her siblings and family, and she meets a butterfly. They become besties, and she learns life's wonderful lessons. And it's a positive value book, and this is what we need in our day. It's up to each of us to be in charge of our mind because I believe, Victoria, it's not the people in our lives, the complications, or the times in which we live, but it's what we think about the people, the the complications and the time. And we're in charge of our thoughts. No one else is. Like my grandmother said, you can paint your life more positive. And living the lifestyle you and I live, eating the healthy foods, really helps to keep you in a more positive mood when
Mm.
we'll get to diet, but when you choose to eat junk foods and processed foods that are all over the grocery store shelves that masquerade as real foods and they're not, it just darkens your soul. It depresses you. You change the whole vibrational rate of your body when you don't eat healthy foods and when you don't pray and when you don't get out in nature, when you don't sleep enough, when you don't exercise. These are all parts of being healthy. And so, O is for outlook. Choose to keep a positive outlook and be kind. When we can be anything in our lives, let's choose to be kind. As you mentioned early on, it's crazy what's happening. All the conflict with people of different religions and races and backgrounds and political affiliations. We need to smile more. That will brighten your day. And by the way, if you had no reason to smile, I'll give you a few quickly. It
Okay.
firms your facial muscles. Yay. It makes you feel better. It makes people wonder what you've been up to when you're always walking around smiling. And it's the shortest distance between two people. And in a world where so much conflict exists between people of different religions and races, and like I said, backgrounds, and these days, political affiliations, the greatest bridge to understanding and peace is always through smiling more, laughter, but enjoying life more, being kind, not taking yourself and the incongruities of your daily life so seriously. We're here to celebrate life, learn lessons, love life, take care of your miracle body, celebrate life, and we can all make a recommitment to start doing that today.
Excellent. Now let's move on to nature.
Nature, and I'm talking about the nature outdoors. My grandmother coined a term in my 70s. She called this disease NDD, nature deficit disorder. And I love that because too often we spend way too much time indoors by a computer, outdoors by all the buildings and structures, and we don't get out in nature. Emerson once said, adopt the pace of nature. Her secret is patience. I love that. He also said, nature always wears the color of spirit. And if
Mhm.
you and studies show, Victoria, that people that spend more time in nature, especially if you can do a little grounding, but even like you were outdoors walking your dog and you were exercising, and maybe you walk over by Central Park over there. But when you're outdoors in nature, appreciating nature's beauty, it changes the cells moving in your body. Like I said a moment ago, it changes the vibrational rate. Studies show it makes you more compassionate. It reduces depression and anxiety. It makes you feel happier, more peaceful. It does elevate your spirit and your mood. And I believe that when we get out in nature, not only does it give us more energy, but it also helps us to feel that visual Valium experience. It balances our mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. So we just need to get out in nature. It might be your backyard that you've set up nicely. It might be the local park. For me here in Brentwood, Santa Monica, it might be down at the beach or the bluff by in Santa Monica. Maybe 3, 4 mornings a week, really early before anybody's awake. I hike in the Santa Monica Mountains. I can't find anybody to get up early enough to go with me, but I love that quiet time alone because silence is golden. We're born with two ears, one mouth. Let's talk less, listen more, and listen to the beauty of nature all around us.
It's
So that's
interesting.
in.
Yeah, you're talking about nature, and you also talked about goals. And I have set a goal for this summer that I am going to find a dog-friendly beach and take little James and go to the beach because
Yes.
I live on a coast. But other than a couple of times to Coney Island, I've never found a beach. I tried to go once when I first moved here. Everybody said you take the 6 train to the end, but I took it the wrong direction and I ended up in Inwood, which is an old Irish part of Manhattan. There were lots of pubs, no beaches, but there are beaches. I just have to find one. So now you have inspired me, as you have for so long. So let's
Well,
move
you do
on.
know, Victoria, I've never been on a train in my life.
Is that your goal now, train?
Yeah, one day I'd like to do that.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
so
I
lovely.
know.
It
I
is the
know.
best way to
Can you take
travel.
James with you on the train?
Yes. Now they do
Okay.
make him stay in a carrier, but he's probably okay with that. I haven't been on a train with James. I was on with Rupert, my former dog. We took a trip to Wilmington to do some work on my most recent book, Wilmington, Delaware. And then we took another train to Vermont to visit my daughter and son-in-law at his parents' place. So, oh yes, give yourself the treat of the train. They
I
say that
will.
the trains in other countries are so much better than our Amtrak over here, but our Amtrak over here is so cool. And especially if you really want to treat yourself first class and get one of those little
Oh,
rooms,
yes.
it's the
Yes.
best way to write. If you have another book in mind, you might want to look into a
Nice. Great
train trip
idea.
for
And
doing some of that
speaking of
writing.
your latest book, look what I have right here. And I love this photo of you because it looks like a heart. Do you see that?
I do.
It
She's
just looks
holding
like,
up for people that are listening audio. She's got a copy of Age Like a Yogi. And
I
I
love
hadn't
this
really
book.
caught that, but I can see that that picture is a little bit heart-shaped. Well, let
Yes,
us
it
move
is.
on because we're confined to an hour
Oh,
here.
let's
So
go here.
let's get on to diet, of which you are
Diet.
such an expert.
Well, listen, what can we say that other people have, a little different than what other people have said? Um, it is so important to choose to eat foods as close to the way nature made them as possible. You want high water content foods, which means lots of fruits and vegetables. I am very big on I eat organic, but eating lots of raw, healthy food. Because you can be a vegan and eat a lot of junk food still on a vegan diet. But I like raw foods because I see how it affects my mood. It helps increase oxygen in the body. It helps with all the friendly bacteria. And I think a problem with a lot of people on a plant food diet is they eat all cooked food. So you want to make sure you get in a lot of healthy food because we know that you and I know for sure that on a plant-based diet, it will give you more energy, keep you disease-free, boost your metabolism, give you a lot of fiber, have your digestive system humming along the way it is supposed to. It will make your skin stay youthful. So it is just important to remember to every day you wake up, you choose what you're going to eat. And also, what you eat today, you crave tomorrow. I bet you've noticed this. On the rare days I might splurge and eat something I'm normally not used to eating, like going with a group of people to an Italian restaurant and I'll get a vegan pizza. But still, that's not that healthy to me. But I notice that it takes longer, it used to be a few hours to a day, for my body to recover after any kind of splurge. So I always remind people that what you eat today, you'll crave tomorrow.
And it
So
goes the other
is it
way.
worth it to splurge?
And when you get used to having greens every day and you miss those greens one day, it's like a red alert. It's like, what's
Yes,
wrong? What's wrong?
yes,
You know,
yes,
get me some broccoli.
yes.
Okay,
And like
now,
green smoothies.
hmm And even I make a lovely Ayurvedic chocolate shake in the morning. It's so wonderful. It's
Oh,
got all
yum.
my good portfolio LDL lowering stuff in there with the psyllium and so on and so forth.
And flax
But
seeds
oh
and
yeah,
cinnamon. I know. By
but
the way,
the
in a hug and
greens,
a mug, I have
yeah.
one chapter devoted to 15 ways to get more vegetables into your daily diet other than salads. Because a lot
Aha.
people ask me that a lot, and especially for children where sometimes you want to hide the vegetables.
Yeah, yeah. And I've had some dental work done recently, and salads are difficult. So I find a way, at least twice a day and often three times a day, to get greens anyway. And
Yes,
then in a couple of weeks, when all is well, back to the
yes,
salads.
good.
Okay, I said you were an expert on diet, but you are a mega expert. You are educated as an expert in exercise. So give us
Well,
your take on that.
I actually love to exercise. It's not that every morning I wake up early and think, oh, I can't wait to get out of my cozy warm bed and go work out. But I never finish a workout thinking, shoot, I wish I hadn't worked out today. It was Henry David Thoreau who said, an early morning walk is a blessing for the whole day. And I like to tell people to walk your dog every day, whether you have a dog or not. Like I love to hear that you walk with your dog in the morning, and you've got to find time to work out. Our body was not designed to be sedentary. As we get older, we lose muscle and bone density. We get weaker, and you've got to keep active, and we got to stop using excuses that maybe outdoors it's raining, snowing, too cold, too hot. It's good to have a little bit of equipment in your home. And I have a rower. I got one piece of aerobic equipment. I've got a few little dumbbells and a barbell. I have a vibration machine. That's easy to put in the corner of a room that shakes you, but really gets your circulation going and helps your immunity and your bone density. And then yoga is great. You want to keep your body flexible, yoga, stretching, and you've just got to make it a true commitment to exercise a few times a week. Ideally, get some good movement in every day because I think one of the number one key factors of longevity is how much muscle you have on your body. You don't want to lose it when you get older. This is why I love hiking so much because I'm out in nature. I feel calmer and peaceful, but also it's an uneven terrain. And that means that you develop the proprioceptors in your body that make it so when you get older, a lot of people fall, don't they? And they'll break a hip. But you want to keep that internal balance going well, and it's good to walk on an uneven terrain. I've never met anybody who's cranky that I pass along when I hike. Everybody is happy hiking. My favorite thing to do when I travel the world is to go to different places to hike. I also like to go into cathedrals, like over in the UK, to look at all the beautiful cathedrals that we don't have so many of in America because we're young.
Yes, we are. I wanted to just ask you for another minute on the vibration plate because that's something I
Yes,
don't have and probably most of our listeners don't. So go into a
yes.
little more detail. I think some of the things you read about it as well, it might help, but it hasn't really been proven. So what do you know, Dr. Susan Smith Jones, about the
Yes.
value of that?
Yes, yes. And on my website, by the way, I have some articles and scientific studies about it. It's just about as big as three laptop computers here. And you literally, Victoria, stand on it. So you could just stand and turn it on, and it vibrates really fast, and your whole body is shaking. And that, especially with for someone like you and I are that sit a lot, anybody who sits a lot, your circulation gets sluggish and it really helps your circulation. It helps to build healthier, more highly functional red blood cells. Studies now show that it helps to strengthen your bones as we get older. A lot of people now worry about osteoporosis. It elevates your mood, but I do more than just stand on it because I'll hold dumbbells while I'm standing, and sometimes I'll squat down into that squat position so I get more of my legs too. And I'll lift my dumbbells over my head. all different kinds of ways. So I'm getting, if I might only have 15 minutes to work out that day, I'll step on my platform, my little vibration machine with some dumbbells, and I'll do a workout. But I also do planks on it. I'll get on the ground, put my forearms on it, and I'll turn it on, and it makes it a little bit harder to do the plank. When it's running, I'll do push-ups on it. Okay, I know this is too much info, but I sit on it and I'll do crunches going back and forth, elbow to my alternate knee. So and when you buy one, you get a little booklet that will tell you how to use it. I've been using it for about 20 years. I love it. I love it, especially when I need a quick workout.
Mm-hmm. Great. Well, healthy toys, always fun. So before we move on to the rest of your wonderful acronym, the books, let's give you some names here. A Hug in a Mug, Uplifted,
A
and the
hug
new
in a
novella,
mug,
Joy
up,
and the Butterfly.
uplifted. And here's Joy and the Butterfly, as I mentioned, just won
Aw,
the
what a
gold
beautiful
medal.
cover.
And
Again,
it's for
everybody, if you want to see what we're talking about, this is on my YouTube channel, Victoria Moran Official. Now, Susan's website is susansmithjones.com. She is on Instagram at Susan Smith Jones, PhD, and we will put all of her contact info and links to those books on the show notes at mainstreetvegan.com. So we are at R in the word wonders. What's that?
that's reset, revitalize. I sort of touched on it earlier. When you wake up in the morning, embrace the day as a blank slate. Remember, those first 40 minutes will set the tone for the day. So you decide how you want your day to be. And you want to build in breaks throughout the day because just as your computer, if you run too many programs at once, can get sluggish and weak, right? Your mind is the same way. And so if you're just from the moment you wake up to when you go to bed at night, if it's go, 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 go with no couple little respite minutes of deep breathing, maybe a cup of tea, chugging down or scarfing down your lunch in front of your computer doesn't count. Maybe you're in the office and you take a 10-minute walk. Build in these little breaks, two, three, four times a day at night. And by the way, it's okay to unplug now and then. You don't always have to be attached to technology. Where you know so many studies now about how it's not good for you physically or mentally. And before you go to bed at night, reset again. Look at your day. Give thanks for all the good things that happened, for the lessons you learned. Make sure you unplug a good hour before you go to bed, and just relax into the next letter is S. And S is for simplify, smile, um,
Sleep and sunshine.
sleep. Thank you. Thank you. I was just thinking about that. I think it's so important to keep your home simplified. I'm really big on decluttering my home as often as it needs it because I want to choose to live in a haven of order in this unpredictable world. So you want to make sure your bedroom is a nice sanctuary. You want to have it cool, dark, and quiet. You want natural bed linens, cotton. I like a little diffuser with lavender in it when I go to bed at night. When you get up in the middle of the night, don't flash the light in the bathroom because that shuts down your melatonin. Have a little faint night light. It's really important, Victoria, to keep the same for your metabolism, for your whole body's health. to keep the same hours of going to bed and waking up 7 days a week. You want within 30 to 60 minutes of waking up in the morning. You want light because that helps your circadian rhythm. So important these days with research. And so you think, well, can't I sleep in on the weekend and stay up later on the weekend? You don't want to go more than about 2 hours outside of your regular sleep time because your body loves it loves a ritual. It loves the regular hours of eating and sleeping. And sleep, and don't eat too close to bedtime because you won't sleep as well. And sleep is when our body heals, repairs, rejuvenates, and renews itself. You've got to get good sleep. You can't be healthy without good sleep. Also, you're going to have a bigger issue with weight, with extra weight, if you don't get the good sleep at night. That brings your cortisol levels down. So look, you've got to make good sleep non-negotiable. And don't paint your bedroom walls red. Make it peaceful, like the color of our walls, or a pale blue, or a light green, or relaxing, peaceful colors.
Beautiful, beautiful suggestions. So we're just winding down here. I do just want to do a shout out to some of the folks keeping the lights on at the Main Street Vegan podcast, and that is the eponymous Main Street Vegan Academy. We have been training and certifying vegan lifestyle coaches and educators since 2012. We will have our cohort number 39 this fall, starting in
Whoa,
October. So we are now on Zoom, and so many people say, oh, it's an online course. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. An online course is something somebody recorded and you get to listen to. This is real. You are a real person. We know you by name. You are important. It's interactive. You get to meet our wonderful faculty members. Maybe we'll bring Susan Smith Jones on this fall. You've never taught for
yes,
us, and that would
I'm
just be
there.
such a wonderful, wonderful addition. So do check us out, mainstreetvegan.com, and you'll be glad you did. It's pretty miraculous. We have done so many amazing things through the years. We put out the Main Street Vegan Academy cookbook back in 2015. And in 2028, I know that's looking ahead, talk about having goals. Lantern
Yes,
Publishing and Media will be publishing an anthology of the blog posts that Main Street Vegan Academy graduates and myself have done over the past many years. That's going to be called
great.
Charmed Life, Kind Life. So that's something that I'll be working on for the next year or so
Yay, that
with
sounds
co-editor
great.
Dr. Angela Crawford. So do check us out, mainstreetvegan.com, and also look there for the show notes and find out ways to reach Susan and access her wonderful books and her wonderful teachings. So, Susan, as we wind down, I just wanted to ask you about these times that we're in. As long as you and I have known each other, it's never been peace on earth. It's never been placid and calm and perfect because it's earth. But this is kind of a unique time. And I know what you said earlier is so valid that we need to go within and create our own peace regardless of what's going on outside. And yet sometimes the outside is harder to keep at bay. And I think for a lot of people, this is one of those times. So, what do you do with this present moment reality?
Well, I choose not to watch the nightly news before I go to bed at night. That's number one. I choose to focus on the positive. I do like to know what's going on in the world because then I know where to send my prayers around the world. But I know that the best thing I can do for the world is to be as peaceful, kind, loving, healthy as I can be, because that's going to ripple outward and I'm going to inspire people, and then they'll be lifted up, and then they'll inspire people. And I think it all begins with each one of us. There are little things during the day I can do, like doing little reset breaks and drinking a little tea. And don't forget how important it is to breathe deeply throughout the day. Remember, I said that you take 17,000 breaths a day. Let's make a lot of those deep breaths and know that when you go out into the world and you see the negativity, you keep your mind as positive as possible. And that's why I always like if I'm in a grocery store, or yesterday I was over at Air One here in Santa Monica, and I could tell a woman had just gotten her hair done. She was probably 85, and but she didn't look so happy. And I was in line behind her waiting to get a smoothie, and I tapped her on the shoulder, and I like to find ways to show kindness. And I said, your hair looks really pretty. It looks, did you just get it done? It looks so great. How do you keep it this way all week long? Well, I could instantly see her eyes lighten up and her face brighten up and the smile. Well, she's going to remember that all day, and she's going to say to her husband or family member or friend on the phone, someone complimented my hair today. Boy, that picked me up. There are little things we can do throughout the day to brighten our own day, but brighten the day of everyone around us. We're here on earth, Victoria, not to see through one another, but to see one another through. It's up to each of us to do that. We just have to remind ourselves to do that throughout the day.
Mm. Susan, that is so beautiful. And what you said
Thank you.
early, I'm going to remember forever because a lot of people who are conscious, who care about things, will say, ugh, I don't want to fill my head with terrible things that are going on in the world. But of course, I want to be informed. And they'll follow that up with some very valid things like, so that I know what to do next, or so that I can discuss this with other people, so that I can discuss this with my children, so that I can step up, maybe take action for some sort of justice issue. But what you said was so perfect. I want to know what's going on in the world so I can know where to send my prayers.
And my light.
Beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. Susan, bless your heart, bless your
Thank you so
work,
much.
all these
Lovely to see
beautiful
you.
books, A Hug and a Mug, and all of them. So, listeners, may you meet this beautiful woman with an easy to remember name and an easier to remember spirit. So, everybody, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. And may we all go out now and make Main Street vegan.